Back in for another edition of the Black and Gold Report here on the UNCP Sports Network. Matt Sabatis here with you from our Old Main Studios. Glad you could take time out of your Saturday morning to join us for some Braves athletics. A lot to get to on this edition of the show. We'll be joined by the head coach of the wrestling squad, Othello Johnson, as he gets us set up for the NCAA tournament. A few Braves wrestlers making the cut to compete over in Iowa later this month. But first, we've got to recap the week that was in Braves athletics. A lot to get to, a lot to catch you up on. Let's start out with women's basketball. First things first. Now, if you stuck around from last week's show, you know they had already made the Peach Belt Conference tournament. Let's see how the regular season finale, and of course that round one contest for UNC Pembroke went.
The senior day for the Braves against Flagler was not off to the prettiest of starts, even with some great offensive performances there from Nyla Allen. Braves found themselves in a quick and deep hole in the first quarter against Flagler. You see, quickly, through 9 minutes, the Braves only putting up 6 points after Casey Drayton's three ball in the corner, and they find themselves down by a wide margin against the Saints after the first 10 minutes of play. Casey Drayton leading the way with 5 points after that 10-minute intermission. A lot of great Braves movement in transition. T. Graham putting together some good work. On the other end, Alicia Hardy, a great little sidestep to take it off the glass, but the Braves unable to close it out at the end of the day. The regular season closes with a loss. Moving on, though, to the postseason, as I said, the Braves had already qualified for the Peach Belt Conference tournament, and they got off to a much hotter start against the number 24 ranked North Georgia Nighthawks, including a great second chance put back there from Aaliyah Farmer for UNC Pembroke. Other players on the day for UNCP, Ebony Stevens, Nyla Allen having great days, but Julianne Sutton there for North Georgia having a fantastic day. The freshman on the floor putting up some great work in the post. A nice little spin and a fade there for Sutton as North Georgia closed out the first period. A phenomenal run after the Braves led by as much as 5. Second period was much of a similar story. North Georgia went into the locker room with a double-digit lead. Braves were able to pull it back ever so slightly in the third period, getting closer and closer toward the fourth. Great three ball there from Ebony Stevens. She had a fantastic going. Avery Locklear contributing as well. Stevens, though, unable to convert there as North Georgia started to clamp down a little bit defensively, and then a few key misses here from UNC Pembroke down the stretch, leading to the final. 58-49, the final. The Braves season coming to an end.
Well, with that final loss to North Georgia, the season comes to an end for UNC Pembroke, but a season it was for John Haskins and crew, the first time in over 5 years that they made the postseason tournament in back-to-back campaigns. They'll turn their attention to 2018 and 2019. Turning our attention now to the men's side of things. If you're following up from last week, in a tightly contested race for the top dog spot in the Peach Belt Conference. Let's see how things shook out and what it took them into the PBC tournament.
Braves needing a win or a Clayton State loss to secure the Peach Belt Conference regular season championship, and Brandon Watts starting things off right, a right-wing three ball, putting the Braves up by a quick 10, smothering defense in the paint at the close of the half. Braves went to the locker room already ahead by 12. Great ball movement in general, a staple of Braves basketball. We'll watch that pass once more from JB to Akia Pruitt. Look at that. That's something you'll be seeing at the end of the year highlight video. Great ball movement again as JB drove once more, set up Nigel Grant in the near corner, midway point of this second half, but it was still a dagger for UNC Pembroke to start to close out this one. Senior day for UNCP, the seniors embracing before the Braves closed out their regular season championship. Moving on, though, to the Peach Belt Conference Tournament Championship, round one being hosted at Lumbee Guarantee Bank Court. And the Braves got it started off right against the Georgia Southwestern Hurricanes. Micah Kinsey, Akia Pruitt contributing on some great steals, some great transition movement, and Pruitt elevating again for another dunk. The sophomore already a good start to his resume to see if he can go back-to-back as Peach Belt Conference Tournament MVP. An assist there to James Murray Boyles. Braves tapping it away once more. Another lob up, and Pruitt for the second game in a row. A throwdown with authority, in the Braves picking up the victory in the quarterfinal round, advancing to the semifinals.
Well, with that victory, the Braves advance to the semifinals of the Peach Belt Conference Tournament. It comes later today on the road at Morrow, Georgia. You can catch all the action live at the Peach Belt Conference YouTube page. Braves didn't fare so well the last time they were in Morrow, Georgia, but they do have a different opponent this time around. That's going to do it for this segment of the Black and Gold Report. When we return, we bring you the head coach of the wrestling team, Othello Johnson. He's going to recap the start of the postseason for his team and give us a little preview into what the NCAA tournament holds for 4 of his wrestlers. A lot to get to here on the show. Be sure to stick around and catch it. Matt Sabatis with you, back in just a moment on the UNCP Sports Network.
Connect with Brave Nation, the student rewards app for UNC Pembroke. Use the app to earn points by checking in at select events. Follow the action and watch the Braves live.
In the 109th minute, the Braves come up with the victory.
Don't forget to check in at events to earn points. More points equals more prizes and chances to be selected for in-game promotions. Set up notifications on your phone so you don't miss out on exclusive experiences. Share your check-ins with friends on social media and keep earning points. Download the app, attend events, and get rewarded.
Back in on the Black and Gold Report here for segment number 2, and we're joined in this segment by the head coach of the wrestling squad, Othello Johnson. OT, thank you for taking the time out of your day. First time we've gotten to talk to you since your team was crowned ECAC champion, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on just how that felt, taking down nationally ranked King on the road and taking away a conference title.
Absolutely, felt great. Was very happy for the guys. Just a testament of their hard work, their dedication, and their trust in us as a staff to stay the course and continue to press forward and not bag it in, so to speak. I think at a certain point in the year, there are a lot of doubts in the room from the guys, but we as a staff continue to press on as far as doing your job and taking care of business, even with a loss, that we had a chance to win the conference. And slowly but surely the guys started to believe that as they saw themselves come together. And watching them compete on Monday, obviously down at King, and just finish the job they started was very, very gratifying, and it was a great night for our program and our athletic department. So it's been a great little journey we've been on the last month.
Well, obviously taking on 2 nationally ranked opponents for your final 2 meets of the season is definitely a way to instill some confidence in your team there.
Well, absolutely. The guys gel together. They've been gelling together since about late December and really starting to come together as a team and starting to wrestle for each other. And that's really cool to see how they talk on trips, how they kind of just stay behind each other and motivate each other. Obviously, in a dual meet, there's in a lot of cases you want to blanket team, but we weren't fortunate to be able to do that. So every match had a guy that didn't feel great coming back from it. So his teammates was there to pick him up and encourage him to continue to stay the course. And you could kind of see the guys starting to be there for each other, and it really started to pay dividends as we got closer and closer to crowning ourselves as champions.
Now, at the time of this, we've already moved past the regional contest, and we're looking ahead to the national tournament up in Iowa. 4 of your wrestlers have made the cut. They've advanced on to the national championships, if I'm not mistaken. And what were your thoughts from that regional qualifying tournament?
Just a tough regional tournament. Of the 4 regions that took place, our regional tournament, had, I think, the most parity as far as competition-wise, and no team advanced more than 6 competitors. So that just tells you how intense and how tough every single match, every single guy competed had to focus. And unfortunately for us, we didn't lead the way we wanted to, and we didn't lead satisfied. We had no champions, even though we have 4 national qualifiers. Our guys still feel like they can come back and stay focused. Because none of them got what they wanted from that tournament. It's always been a tough tournament, and it's going to continue to be a tough tournament in the future. And in a lot of cases, that tournament sometimes is tougher than the national tournament. Yeah. Depends on your bracket. So we try to reiterate that to our guys and remind them that, hey, you've gone to the gauntlet. So now all you got to do is stay focused and continue to press forward. we're excited to see how they return back to practice today after Sunday and yesterday off, and see how they approach the next week and a half of training.
Of the guys that qualified to head their way up to Iowa, who do you think not necessarily has the best shot of going all the way or potentially becoming an All-American, but who are you most excited for, you think, to see wrestle at the big stage?
I'm super excited for Eric Milks, a guy that's been in the program 5 years, paid his due in every way.
That's for sure.
Came in here as a young freshman, grinded it out, had 2 near misses of going to the national tournament, and finally his final season, his final year, punching his ticket to the tournament. And Coach Shade joked that Eric, you're the most qualified first-time national qualifier. Just because he's been there with
just
Eric.
The time.
Right. Timing for Eric was everything. He's been there and he's been right there at the cuffs, and it hadn't materialized for him in the previous years. And finally, at a time this year, he was kind of questioning whether this was going to happen this year, and we just remind him, hey, everything you're doing right now is for a reason, and it paid off on Friday and Saturday, and he finally, at the end of the tournament, he was like, Coach, so this is what it feels like to leave this tournament not feeling down or not disappointed. And I said, yeah, that's it, man. So really excited for Eric, and I think Eric's got an awesome opportunity going out there with no pressure next weekend to compete at his final wrestling event of his college career.
I know we've asked you this already a couple of times this season, but Rodney, his impact on your team, the fact that he transferred over mid-season, it's just been such a talking point, the fact that he's already garnered such national recognition. He's making the trip to the national tournament. What's it been like coaching him?
It's been pretty easy. I mean, guy is he's very hungry. Obviously, he's constantly asking questions. He wants to watch film. He's asking for advice. Obviously, you can tell he's mature in the way that he approaches his craft. He's not satisfied. And a guy that's taking a little bit of time off, you can tell there's some rust that he still has to get off, and that's great. I mean, he's wrestled great, but we haven't seen his best wrestling year yet, and he knows that. Well, at least we hope he knows that, and I think that's why he continues to ask questions. And obviously we took a few things for him, and with his draw, we feel like he has an opportunity not only to punch his ticket to get on the podium, but to get to the top of the podium. He's a guy that's really bought in, and that's very difficult for anyone to do coming in mid-season for any sport into a program, into a new culture, and all that. So he's done a great job, and obviously is a testament to where he came from before. As far as going into the program and buying in and knowing, trusting the coaches, trusting the staff, and trusting the culture you're going into, that they're gonna steer in the right direction. And we're very grateful to have him. And we're excited to see what the rest of the season holds for him.
That hunger, that excitement, do you think that's something that, especially as we enter towards the national tournament, is that something you're seeing from all of your guys?
Absolutely. There were a couple matches on Saturday that were going to determine whether you continue to progress towards the national tournament and go home. And we saw some guys really wind in and really use the preseason training that they were, being tortured on the track or in the weight room or just on the mat, just trying to, not necessarily physical torture, but more mental. And you can kind of see them kind of mentally just hone in and do the things that they needed to do because they know what they've been through in the preseason in December when they were here when no one else was here. When we were wrestling against NC State and, questioning themselves, and it was more of a mental focus than a physical focus, and wrestling those Division I team, wrestling number 1 St. Cloud in Division II, just, challenging ourselves, more for, last Saturday to see how those guys are going to be able to handle that. And I think all those tough competition paid dividends for us as a program, and it helped those guys that punched their tickets. It really boils down to how much can you focus and how much can you draw back from your past. Not dwelling on it, but drawing back from it and taking the things that you need to take from it as a competitor to move forward. So I think those 4 guys, not to undermine the other guys that didn't qualify, but those 4 guys did a great job of focusing, and I think they can carry that on with the rest of their teams moving forward. As far as what to do when the going gets tough.
Well, focus and endurance down the stretch has always seemed like something your team has an advantage on over others. Is that something that you push a lot of in practice, or is that just something you feel as though is a quality that your guys just share?
Well, I think it's definitely a quality. We try to recruit kids that understand what that means and not just not the word, the focus. You hear a lot of people say focus. Well, what does it mean?
Exactly.
Are you educating your kids on what true focus is, and when you get to that point where they understand it, now are you putting in their minds, in addition to focus, you have to be able to go the distance, and for you to be able to go the distance, you have to have a focus that's going to allow you to get there and not question, the path, trust the process. And I think we have some guys now that have been in the program multiple years that understand that focus goes along with endurance, and they showed a lot of that, and I think that's something that we're going to continue to press. The job's not done yet. A lot of people get to the national tournament and they feel satisfied. Well, there's still championships to be held. There's still All-American status to be held, and there's still a team race that we're going to be a part of, whether we have 4 guys or we have 1 guy. And we're going to try to do our best to finish as high as we possibly can.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll let you go for now, and you can turn your focus back to booking that travel to Iowa. Good luck at the national tournament.
Absolutely. Thank you again, and we're looking forward to staying focused and doing our job, and having the endurance to come back here in 2 weeks to have another great conversation with you.
Well, absolutely. We'd love to talk with, of course, you and then maybe a couple of national champions as well.
That'd be wonderful.
One more break right now. When we return, some more Black and Gold Report up next on the UNCP Sports Network.
Connect with Brave Nation, the student rewards app for UNC Pembroke. Use the app to earn points by checking in at select events. Follow the action and watch the Braves live.
In the 109th minute, the Braves come up with the victory.
Don't forget to check in at events to earn points. More points equals more prizes and chances to be selected for in-game promotions. Set up notifications on your phone so you don't miss out on exclusive experiences. Share your check-ins with friends on social media and keep earning points. Download the app, attend events, and get rewarded.
Back in on the Black and Gold Report, segment number 3 coming your way. Glad you could stick with us here on the UNCP Sports Network. Joined now by the head coach of the women's basketball team, John Haskins. Coach, thank you for taking the time as we look to close the book, per se, on your season coming off of the loss to North Georgia in the first round of the Peach Belt Conference Tournament. Let's just get your thoughts on that initial game before we look at the season as a whole.
I thought we played hard. We weren't able to do some of the things we said we needed to do, which was make some perimeter shots. We had to finish plays around the basket, which we really struggled at, I think. And I think we missed 6 or 7 free throws also. So I think we had some opportunities to really put some pressure on them. And we got back in the game in the second half, and I thought our effort in the second half and our defense in the second half was very good. We just couldn't make enough shots and score enough to put enough pressure on them.
Well, other than the offense, of course, your team did a fantastic job defensively, putting a lot of pressure not only in the paint but on the perimeter against the number 24 team in the nation, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think that's one thing we've improved on through the year. We harped on it a lot early, and we had a lot of new kids in our program and just trying to get used to a different way of playing defense. And so I do think that was an area that we improved as the season went along.
Now, looking at the season as a whole, as it comes to a close, 4 seniors graduating in Robinson, Allen, Drayton, and then, of course, Ebony Stevens. Who are some of the women that you think are going to be the biggest when it comes to filling in the gaps that are going to be made from your seniors graduating?
Well, I think, all of them we're going to miss but because of Brandy and Casey's size and Casey's versatility. And her ability to shoot the basketball. But I think, looking at Nyla with her production, scoring and rebounding, obviously that's going to be a void that we're going to have to fill. Yeah. And, we feel good about our perimeter coming back, but because we lost Nyla, Brandy, and Casey, who we played inside, we're looking for some post help.
Well, what are some of the things you think that the seniors passed on to the underclassmen that they can really develop through the offseason into next year?
Well, I think their effort was very good, and I thought they did a good job of leading, some vocally and some by simply example, but I thought their leadership skills were good. This was probably the most cohesive team in terms of kids really, really liking each other a lot. that one of the most that I've ever been around, and particularly since my time on the women's side. So, you know, they did a really good job there in keeping everybody together, keeping everybody on the same page.
And looking ahead to next season, of course, are there any recruits so far that have been standing out to you? Anyone you're excited about moving into 2018 and 2019?
Well, I think most of the kids we signed early will help. You know, with Shania coming from Catawba Valley Community College, she's probably averaging about 20 points a game. Pretty aggressive, attacks the basket, gets it to the rim. She's a strong guard. And then Naomi Gilbert from South Meck High School is a point guard that can get the ball places and sees the floor very well. And then also, you know, BB coming off a redshirt year, who was our leading returning scorer from the team a year ago. So I think on the perimeter, you know, when you add that we've got Avery back, we've got T back, we've got Alicia back, we've got Melanie back. I mean, we've got a number of kids back that played for us on the perimeter this year. So our perimeter is solid again. I think, you know, the inside presence is what we need to look at.
And of course, a smaller junior class making the trip up to senior status in next season compared to the 4 seniors you're graduating this year. Is that a big point of confidence, you think, going into next year? The fact that, while you do have some key senior leadership, you'll still have a good young core of players in the next year?
Yeah, I do think we've got a good young core of players, and we're excited about the future. You know, as we saw Melanie as a freshman come in and make some significant contributions early in her career. You know, so I do think we've got a good nucleus coming, both coming in and we'll be returning for you even another year. You know, T's got another year. She's just a sophomore this year. So I do look forward to the future.
All right, Coach. Well, we look forward to spending more time with you when the next season comes rolling around. Glad you could be with us as much as you could this season.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
Coach.
All right.
Back in a moment with a little more Black and Gold Report coming your way next on the UNCP Sports Network.
Connect with Brave Nation, the student rewards app for UNC Pembroke. Use the app to earn points by checking in at select events. Follow the action and watch the Braves live.
In the 109th minute, the Braves come up with the victory.
Don't forget to check in at events to earn points. More points equals more prizes and chances to be selected for in-game promotions. Set up notifications on your phone so you don't miss out on exclusive experiences. Share your check-ins with friends on social media and keep earning points. Download the app, attend events, and get rewarded.
Back in on the UNCP Sports Network for one final time, I'd like to thank everyone here on our Old Main studios for taking their time out of their days to help us bring you the show. Of course, I'd like to thank all of our fine guests for stopping by to be on the show. And of course, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch the show. Matt Sabata saying, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Saturday. I'm glad you can join us. Be sure to watch the remainder of the Peach Belt Conference basketball tournament coming your way later today. And have a great rest of your Saturday. We'll talk to you same time next week right here on the UNCP Sports Network.